this match. It's going to be an interesting battle here. Jaylow's been playing Randomizer pretty much since its inception. He was one of the very early beta testers, has done a ton with almost, a ton of work on it, so he has a lot of experience on this. Shiner's been in and out. He's played more a little bit in the past. He hadn't necessarily, I think, played a ton with us in terms of racing recently, but was very talented when he did play, so it's going to be interesting to see how this ends up rolling out today.
And before we begin, I do definitely want to thank Jam for being a big part of getting all these restreams all together. Come on, guys, in chat, give them a lot of love and support. So what do you look for when we get ready for a race like this, Fred?
In terms of like what the racers are going to be doing, or
kind of like strategy?
So, all right. So the first thing, basically, I think what you're probably going to see on almost all the racers is, you need to have some form of weapon. So the primary thing you're going to be doing is hunting for a wood sword, and wood swords have to be in an open cave or under an armhouse somewhere. So they're going to be pretty heading towards those areas where they're clustered. There's a bunch of caves near start, so they're probably going to check those out first. If you then probably will see a bunch of them migrate either up to the northeast or possibly over to the graveyard area, depending on what they want to do in terms of what armos to hit. I tend to personally head towards the northeast. I think they'll both head that way too, but we'll have to see how things go. And they are off. And there's a nice weapon here already at start, so they both have the capability to be able to hopefully be able to find things quickly. And just as a time check, I'm assuming we're going to be decent here. I currently have... Okay, I'm about 2 seconds behind, a second or two behind what people are seeing, so that works out perfectly. So the streamer, the players here are really lucky. They found a wood sword located, in pretty much the first cave. So what they're immediately trying to do here is now they're going to try and kill the blue enemies. The blue enemies have a chance of dropping bombs on the first enemy drop. Jaylow manages to get that. Shiner did not. Jaylow is immediately going to save so that way he can try to bomb the vicinity near start and possibly lose bombs.
Very good strategy to take at the beginning of this race here, especially when bombs are a premium.
Completely agree. He has a weapon now. He's found an any road, which of course led him a very far distance away from start.
And it's good. That's good as a warp device when you get later on.
Oh, great. And now this is actually a really good place, and you're seeing Jaylow already as Shiner's heading around, checking those open caves near start now, trying to find levels. You're seeing Jaylow actually hunting around a couple of caves up near Death Mountain now that he found a spot up there, and he's probably also going to head down to the Armos to check to see if there's an item there, maybe. It looks like he's not doing that at this exact
Yeah, he's turning around now to actually do that.
Oh, no, he's doing it. He's trying to avoid having to hit the Tektite there. That's what he's aiming. So now he
finds
knows
a potion shop.
Okay, which works out well. I mean, again, there are 5 Armos statues that hide things on Hyrule. This screen normally that he was just on normally holds one of those. The other 4, would normally hold caves.
And we found our first dungeon.
Oh wow! Shiner finding the ladder right on the Armos under start, which is a phenomenal find in the early going. And now he also knows where level 9 is, so he won't have to hunt for that.
Indeed. So, as we find a dungeon on Jaylow's side.
Finding the ladder that early actually is a huge advantage for Shiner, because in addition to now not being ladder blocked in any dungeon, he also has the capability to potentially world wrap and find out what the free item is that's on the coast. There's normally an item, normally a heart container, laying out on the east coast that you can pick up if you have the ladder. Well, now he can get that.
And I'm thinking that Jaylow is in 5.
I would guess there's a couple possibilities here. It's going to depend. I mean, based on shape, I think 5 is very likely.
And based on the shape, the drop in the room there, and the fact that it's got an NSU. But, ooh, whiz ropes.
It's going to be interesting to watch Jaylow here. Jaylow uses some of the techniques, as Shiner has just found the roads, the 4 take any road you want squares, so he's going to explore those and find out where those are taking him. We should find out where the 4th location is, and just northeast of level 1, which is a really nice location to be at.
So both of them already having wood sword. That's pretty good to find early on in this race.
Yes, a lot of times early in the race, you're going to see a struggle for racers to try to identify where the where any weapon is, to try, especially find the wood sword. You've seen races where racers take 20-30 minutes sometimes to be able to get the wood sword. So the fact that they found that was really cool. They both took the wood sword itself. You could potentially take the candle, but we know that there's a candle shop right at the start, and the money's at a premium. So we don't know exactly how much money it's going to be, but the fact that you can just up A and get the candle as soon as you have enough money is a really strong reason to not take the candle.
Well, absolutely. It gives you more possibilities. And you got 27 whole items there that it could possibly be, as we learned that level 5 has the power bracelet.
Power bracelet is a very useful item for the purposes of unlocking the 4 caves that normally are any roads. The odds of it hitting might not be great necessarily, but you've got good enough odds that's very useful to have that power bracelet, just because it guarantees that you'll find another. You won't be held out of those dungeons.
You never know when a dungeon can be behind a power bracelet slot, especially this when you don't know where half the stuff is at this moment.
Exactly. Shiner just saving his progress and now continuing to explore. He does have the candle, so he can burn all the bushes near start. He has a very significant amount of money, so if he comes across a blue ring shop, he has the option to purchase the blue ring in most likelihood.
Ooh, a blue ring, a blue wizard room with a shuttered door. At least it's only 3.
And wow, this is some really nice play by Jaylow here to clear that room with no damage at all. That was incredible play to be able to get through a blue wizard room, regardless of how many blue wizard robes there are. Those rooms are not easy.
You get bopped by one of their beams, you're down to 1 heart. 2 bops, you're done.
Or even running into them. The blue whiz robes also give you 2 hearts of damage if you hug them. So Jaylow's in a island room, as our friend Shiner is now in a different level. I'm leaning towards this one being 2 from what I'm seeing. The very quick glimpse.
And it's another
yes, 2
dungeon.
confirmed. Oh, lovely. They're getting a bunch of wizard seeds today. Interesting, they're both playing around with this, because I would have considered, well, it's 2, so it's tough. You've got the issue of, well, it's just level 2, but at the same time, it's whiz ropes. So it'll be interesting to see if and when they decide to abort on these dungeons and get out of Dodge.
As we saw Jaylow get the heart out of 5. Both racers now with a 33% chance of getting the white sword when they do find that cave.
And we are guaranteed, as we unfortunately learned a very big spoiler from Harry Potter, that the white sword is somewhere on the overworld. Some racers, sometimes you'll see gamble on the fact that you can get the wood sword, that the white sword will be easily available. It's not guaranteed at all to be the case. Because it's possible the white sword could be, behind a raft spot, for example.
Or in the case of my seed last night, a power bracelet slot.
Yes, and that can be painful. That can be very painful. All right, Jaylow appears to basically be. I think he's got 1 or 2 possible places that he can still check here, but he's going to have to check with the woods, or he's going to have to check, possibly below a key or something, and he may need the ladder to complete this dungeon. We're not sure yet. We already know where the ladder is, but. Shiner is making good progress. He now knows where the Triforce is. He can get that very easily. He's going to continue to explore.
Wow, Shiner taking the heart and dying at the same time, but at least they give him credit for the heart container. That's a dead heat.
Fortunately, in this case, the item tie went to the runner.
Yep. In most cases, it doesn't. Like, for example, when you get that key glitch.
Yes, the key glitch is really annoying. What we're referring to is the fact that if you happen to walk up to a door and unlock it right as you die, the key count will decrease, you die, and then the the door will remain locked.
Yep.
Shiner actually choosing wisely there to not kill the Gleeok there in level 2. That room, I believe, does not actually have a. If that room has a drop in it, the drop is laying out on the floor naturally. So he's doing a great job just ignoring that one room all right out of the way.
And he gets beamed again here. At what point in time in a Wizrobe dungeon do you just grab that Triforce and come back later if you need to?
It depends really on the situation. Where he is right now, I would grab the Triforce and run at this point. You have to go deep into the dungeon seemingly, or kill some nasty stuff to get the item that's in here. I would grab the Triforce. Yeah, exactly. You grab the Triforce, you leave. 2 is not in a completely out of the way location. You can come back here if you need the item later on. And again, fighting Wizrobes is just a very tough thing to do. That's it.
You know, one of the big items. One of the big items is gone.
A significant advantage right now. He has the ladder. He has a candle. And Jaylow saying, "Forget that one screen with the 6 blue Lionels on it."
Wisely.
Very, very wisely. Lionels, again, their swords will deal 2 hearts of damage on basic, with no other damage, and so therefore it makes life a little bit more fun. And the really nice thing for Shiner,
and we find another dungeon.
Oh, excellent! But Shiner's got the really nice case going on here that he can. Here, just checking to see what we can get there. There we go. That's better.
It looks like he is in 4.
Looking like
just
4.
judging
okay.
by that first start, but we'll see in just a moment.
There's the possibility of 6. So my stream was lagging a little there.
Oh, you're right. It could be 6 still. We'll find out. It depends on what you find when you go up. Find out what you find when you go left.
4 and 6 tend to have at least the initial room. If the initial room is where the start normally is, tend to be a little tough. I'd say you're probably right with that, especially with that room. I'd say you are in fact correct. This is going to be a 4.
So in that case, he knows he's searching for a double block room.
There are 2 double block rooms in this dungeon. He can clear. Fortunately, it looks like this is a Gorilla set, which is going to be a far easier set for him to deal with. Jaylow here is, now has obtained his candle. He is now burning all of the woods and attempting to kill the blue moblins to try to get a bomb drop potentially.
Shiner getting the hint where level 5 is. You want to talk about that real fast? What the hints mean?
Absolutely. So the hints in this game, there are 3 possible variants as Shiner picks up a heart of hints. The variant that the racers are playing in this version are mixed hints. So some of them are trolley hints, or hints that people have put together, such as you're seeing on Jaylow's side with the old man saying you can't handle the truth. Other hints may give you indication as to where a dungeon is located or where a item is located. So you may, typically based on the boss that naturally would reside in that dungeon. So you may hear Aquamentus awaits with the red ring. You would know the red ring is in level 1. Dodongo dwells in the forest, tells you at least where level 2 can be found.
And in this case, we saw that Digdogger grazed at the gate, or rather, gazed at the grave.
At the grave. So you will know now. They know that there are about 5 locations up near the graveyard. So you've got the graveyard itself, you've got level 6, the power bracelet slot, the open cave next to it, another bomb cave around there, and the power bracelet spot. So they know now that level 5, or Shiner now knows that level 5 is in one of those locations.
And because he has the ladder, he's able to now try to search for the item. He already got the Triforce in here, so he's not really concerned about room drops, unless he's trying to get keys.
It's an interesting decision to take the Triforce and then go get the item. I would have probably done it the other way around. Personally,
that's probably how I would have done it too, especially when you had to deal with those 3 gorillas with a
Yeah,
shuttered door.
If you're coming back in, just because this way too, you can then explore the overworld with fewer, with more hearts. At least that's my typical plan on this. And Shiner
He
has
finds the scrap metal. He's gonna go grab it. That'll make TG a little upset, although I know he said he's stepping away for a few.
That's a good point Mary just made in chat. The hints do refer to the original first quest boss always. So even though you run into a Gleeok in level 2 in second quest, the hint would still say Dodongo dwells in Randomizer here.
Yep, thank you very much for that assist, Miria.
Jaylow is, now burning the forest down, attempting to locate any other dungeons that he can use to try to get through. Meanwhile, Shiner is wandering the coast here. I don't know if his video's coming choppy for anyone else, if there's some frame droppage.
It's me too.
Okay.
It's me as well.
All right, so any delays I may have on that, may be related to that, but doing what we can here on that. So,
has either of you guys discovered what the item on the coast is yet? Because we're about to find out on Shiner's end.
Yeah, I don't believe Jaylow's been to this neck of the woods yet, as he then proceeds to unfortunately perish to a Octorok rock. Shiner's actually using the blue boomerang there to his advantage to stun the enemies so that way they can't kill him. Really powerful use for having the boomerang.
Yep, just we know one guy is not going to like that, as we're about to find out what the coast item is, and it is the red ring. Ooh, that's big.
That is
Shiner.
A huge advantage for Shiner here. Now Shiner has the quadruple defense. He has that's basically what the red ring offers. He now really only thing that can block him now in a dungeon would be requiring the recorder or the bow. So he is actually in phenomenal shape here.
He's got the 245 rupees. Well, lose some of those to no more taxes, but he's still got a lot of rupees he can play with.
Yes, he still has a lot of rupees. The 24 loss is kind of big, but the fact that now he doesn't have to buy the red ring is actually incredibly helpful for him. He's going to continue to search here, trying to find any of the remaining dungeons that he can, but right now he is, as I said, he is looking in really good shape. Jaylow's checking out some of the caves here near start now. Remember, Jaylow got the bombs early, so he actually took the any roads and hasn't really explored near start yet, so he is not yet determined. He has not yet found the ladder. And knowing Jaylow, once he does find the ladder, there's a good chance he's going to head back towards the forest to finish that.
Just hopefully he doesn't find a blue ring before then.
Yes. Well, if he does, he's still significantly short on rupees. Remember that the price of items can change plus or minus 20 rupees, so the cheapest a blue ring could be is 230 rupees.
Why can't I ever find 230 rupee blue rings?
Because the odds of that are so incredibly low.
I am the terror that
half the
claps
time
in
the
the
price
night.
will be the same or higher, so half the time you're going to see a 250 or more ring.
But it never can exceed the amount that you can hold, which is 255.
Correct. Actually, and that's a game limitation, otherwise I probably would have allowed it to potentially go higher, but the game limitation, it's scored with one bite, and Jaylow's taking his time to very carefully identify which Armos has the item or possible staircase under it. We know it's the item, but he does not know that yet.
It's a wise decision, especially since these guys deal out 1 heart damage every time they hit you.
Completely agreed. So, going a little bit cautious there, was able to get the ladder out. Now he has that. He knows stuff here. As Shiner is now exploring up the Lost Hills area, he just found another potion shop. A lot of potion areas up there. It's like it's the pharmacy district.
Good terminology.
And so right now, still trying to explore the overworld, trying to find some key levels. We found a few levels on them combined, but we're still missing a number of key levels. And level 1 and 8, I think, are 2 of the big ones. Jaylow just discovering level 9. I know I would have personally discovered this level late because the Lost Woods tends to be an area I come back to incredibly late, just on my natural pathing through the game. Something I need to work on.
My usual path is up over to the left and get to that first Armos and then eventually stop. As we see now that he already has enough rupees, Shiner decides to take my strategy and pick up the large shield.
That's a really interesting strategy. I mean, it'll help him in some of the Wizrobe dungeons, certainly, as long as he doesn't get eaten by a like. I would have actually considered purchasing the wooden arrows from that shop. I mean, especially where he hasn't, especially where he hasn't done, found silver arrows yet. The bow would be, if he ever finds the bow, it gives him an immediate weapon.
And Jaylow is possibly in 1.
That says it's very high potential that Jaylow is in 1. We'll have to see how Jaylow goes here. I know Jaylow typically does not, he doesn't do screen scrolls at all when he plays, and it looks like he might be trying to hunt for some bombs here, but I don't think he needs to, I don't know if he's going to necessarily be doing a lot of bomb clipping. Shiner is in level 7, as noted by the distinct room that he's located in.
And we find the bow.
Jaylow with the bow, one of the required items. So we got Shiner exploring level 7. Again, we know that for certain. That's 7 based on the one room he found. Jaylow is very high probability at this point in 1. He should be able to bomb north from here regardless. Yes, he can. Getting some more keys. Level 1 is known for having a lot of keys. You might have to blow a couple of keys in moving around, but most of the time you can work around most of the locked doors as long as they're not in the wrong spot. So Jaylow doesn't need to clear this room, so he's just going to move directly on. Shiner, of course, is exploring one of the biggest dungeons in the game, the biggest non-level 9 dungeon in the game here with level 7.
Yeah, and because it's so big and only one staircase and one item, it can be a real big trap, especially if a non-required item's inside.
Right, so I mean, the tendency I think most Randomizers players tend to do with level 7 is if you happen to find the Triforce, get out of dodge fast as you can.
And come
Jaylow
back if you need to.
Container.
Yep, that puts him now at 7 hearts altogether, still stocking up on keys and rupees.
Lots of extra rupees laying around too.
Absolutely.
Shiner's actually taking advantage of the shield, and he interestingly walks out of that room. Well, maybe this will pay off. He is attempting to block click through. He has the red ring, so he can tank a lot of damage.
And he finds the staircase.
And so my opinion, he should do, again, his opinion may differ from mine, is he's going to do what he's doing. He's going to just go get that Triforce right away and get out of dodge.
And also, Jaylow finds the Triforce, but knowing that there's an item on the floor somewhere, he's going to skip it right now.
And so what's going to happen is this is going to be slightly different. He's going to see this room. He knows in this room that there is no drop in that room that the Gleeok was in, so he's going to get out. And he probably will just, in this case, take the Triforce. This is different from what I was talking about earlier, where you find the Triforce in like room 3 or 4 and go through, because there's only a tiny bit of backtracking to get the Triforce. Jaylow can go back into this level now because he would have had to do a lot of backtracking to get back to the Triforce, so it was a good move on his part. Interestingly, Shiner's continuing to explore level 7 here, which I find to be a really interesting strategic decision. I would, again, personally, I would have gotten out of dodge. I'd come back here only if it turns out needed later, but he might be still hope for a bow or something else here.
I agree with you, Fred, and he's going to take the staircase, so at least now he knows what he's looking for, either the diamond room or the reverse C, and he'll be looking for the diamond room.
And he's all the way up near the top. As I said, level 7 is a very dangerous level to potentially get lost in, with the fact that it has 33 rooms, I think is what we've said, and you don't know where it's going to exactly, you don't have any clue where the item's going to be except for finding staircases. So
it is easily one of the dungeons that if you take the wrong turn in Albuquerque, you can really lose a lot of time.
Oh yeah. The plus side is level 7 does have so many rooms with drops in it, so it's going to hopefully get that. And this is going to be a mixed bag hint for Jaylow. Jaylow finds out that Dodongo dwells near the desert. He's unaware of who's hanging in the desert there to basically take care of things. But as we were saying earlier, the K level 2 is located near the desert, so Jaylow now can limit his search to a very small number of keys. a key
And
number of places.
finding that it's at the desert is a whole lot better than finding out that a dungeon's at Death Mountain or the coast, where there's a lot of possibilities.
Agreed. Yeah, the Death Mountain has I don't remember the exact numbers, of course, off the top of my head. And Jaylow does pick up the wooden boomerang, which was the second item located in level 1.
And TG will be very happy.
I see. Well, Jaylow has now discovered both items in here, and he's got the Triforce, and he's decided to skip the up A to exit the dungeon and use a key in the process, which is a really interesting choice there. I guess he's. I was gonna say, and we know he does have a controller for up A purposes. I was about to say, I mean, that would be the other possibility of avoiding that, but he might not want to. He might want to have nearly full health in case he happens to find another dungeon.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing that he's doing there is or the reason why he's doing that is to preserve his health.
Right.
And I'm thinking the whole key thing is probably just too close to that door. It triggered the use of the key.
Might have been. It could have been that.
And we see Shiner still searching 7.
I find it very interesting, especially with the fact that he's killing Gleox. Again, he should know at this point he's in 7. From we've seen enough evidence that he would know that. So I think he's just trying to find that. I never saw him pick up a hint. So it is possible that he picked up a hint. He happened to have picked up a hint that he might have information that he needs what's in here. It's certainly possible. I just didn't realize that. And yes, folks, you can in fact force a bomb off of a Gleok if you.
Yep, if it's the 10th enemy and you kill it with a bomb, or
you kill the head. What you do is the heads, the floating heads that are around. If you kill the floating heads, and you hit the floating head, it will take damage, kind of like the center of a Tootsie Roll or a center of a Manhandla, and will take a large number of hits at once. And therefore, if you then kill the head after that, you will force the bomb up. Okay.
By the way, Jaylow finds himself in level 3.
And he's found the item right away in level 3, which is really useful. He's going to smoke out the room, get himself an extra key. And the wand, which is something you are going to grab right away. You are definitely taking that.
If you don't have the white sword, if you don't have magical sword, you're going to probably grab that because, number one, that's an extended weapon. It works on both the Gria set and the Darknut set. It doesn't work on Wizrobes, unfortunately. Fred!
Boomstick allows that to work on the Wizrobes.
But no, I mean, put that in the tournament settings.
No, we didn't. That's frankly slightly overpowered. But regardless of which, the wand does help out a lot on those other sets. It's ranged weaponry, so it's really useful. Jaylow finding the compass and now turning around and going straight for the source of the compass, so that way he can try to get the Triforce to get out. His key situation right now is actually incredibly good. He's got 7 keys already. This ends up being a really, really useful amount. 8 keys now.
Oh, shoot.
Yep, and you're going to find that in this level. But fortunately, Jaylow picked up that wand that he just had a couple minutes ago, so he can kill all the Gibdos, then make his way through to get back to there. There's
the big use of the wand right there. Be glad it's them and not Darknuts.
Really agreed. Shiner's still hunting through level 7 here. As I said, I must have missed him get a hint or something for that.
We know that
he does get the nice hint
by the Lost Hills,
which gives him a very narrow window of possible places that the Triforce could be located. The Triforce at level 8 could be located. That will end up really helping him out.
And he's going to find that he is going to have to spend the key because he was staircase blocked from going down.
That's right. As I say, that's where he found the wand in the first place there. So he'll have to go blow that one key. Shiner has found the item. And a trap-only room is literally at the tip of the nose. There was a secret in the tip of the nose this time.
And it's a heart container.
Which is painful. And so Shiner is now getting out of dodge. I said, I expect, knowing Jaylow, I expect that Jaylow will skip the item hunt at that point unless he's desperate for silver arrows. So Shiner's now out. Shiner knows where the potential level 8 could be, so now he's going to check out these caves around here and try to find level 8.
And he finds it.
Very
I
likely.
believe. Oh no, this is.
It's got potential. It could be a bomb wall on the right there.
We'll find out in just a moment.
And Jaylow is
nice
traversing the
use
Lost Woods.
Nice use of the boomerang to get the quad kill.
It's got the heart container out of that room now. As I said earlier, Jaylow does not do any of these screen scrolls, so he took the long route through the Lost Woods to get up to the grave area. We already know that the grave has one of the... there's something up near the grave, I'm pretty sure. Or was that just one of the examples we listed earlier?
There was a dungeon. Level 5 was on the far right. And there's the white sword too, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
So he found a way to get to Sesame Street.
And for those of you who don't know, when you choose a sprite for Link Shuffle that happens to match one of the enemy types, we replace that enemy type with Link. So all those enemies you're seeing Shiner fight are, that look like Link are in fact Dark Nuts.
And we can confirm now that Shiner is indeed in level 8.
Yes, he is. Jaylow choosing not to take any hints. He has not been to the coast, so he doesn't know the red ring is available, so he's probably going to be holding off here to try to buy himself, or save the money to buy himself a blue ring.
And Shiner finding out where the Triforce is in 8, and also the good book. Sorry, Lizzie.
Jaylow has the power bracelet, so he was able to find a quick heart container here. Shiner has not yet found level 1, so he's not going to have the heart container.
But Shiner now is running into a bomb situation in level 8.
Which is one of the dangerous places. There's often a lot of walls in level 8 that can potentially be bombed, and the dongo hurts. Ouch.
I'll go back out and kill some moblins.
Yeah, fortunately he's lucky. There are 5 blue moblins out there. Moblins are in the bomb dropping group, so he can kill them all and hope to find himself a bomb drop. He makes great use of that boomerang, I have to say. I'm trying to remember, was he the one in the original NES tournament, the original tournament that we did, who actually would pick up the wooden boomerang? I'm trying to remember that if he was him or if it was someone else. But there was someone who actually picked up the wooden boomerang and used it.
Yeah, I don't remember who it is, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, it says someone used it very regularly. So trying to force some more bombs, I believe, and Jaylow appears to now be starting to wander his way through Death Mountain here, trying to get some extra, not Death Mountain, he's now around the lake, but he's essentially up at the grave Death Mountain area. Again, Jaylow doesn't usually screen scroll, so he's picking up these general areas when he still can. And he's only got 2 bombs, so he's a little low on bombs too.
And he goes into 5. Again.
Been here, actually, so yeah. I think he's now hoping that he now has the weaponry. He can't trick the game by coming in from the previous left screen.
And there's your solution to the bombs, a 6 bomb increase.
Oh wow, that is a fantastic bomb increase for Jaylow.
Because that can be ranged anywhere between 2 and 6.
Yeah, so he has 14 bombs. He probably won't even need to buy a second bomb upgrade in this race. He may do so.
Recorder, the other item in 8.
Recorder is incredibly useful. It does allow you to unlock the lake underneath where level 7 would normally be. But on top of that, yeah,
you never know when you're going to run into a Dig Dogger.
Dig Doggers are also
there's the
useful. Fast Triforce too.
Triforce.
And that's, again, he found both items in 8 now, so he definitely does not need to come back to 8. And the items themselves may not have been too useful, but at least he knows what he has to do.
But he still needs to find the bow. He still needs to find the silver arrow. He doesn't know where the bow is at this moment, and we don't know where the silver arrow is either.
Silver arrows could be in level 9, which could make this a completely crazy game.
Grand equalizer, as Lost Card Fan calls it.
Completely.
And another dungeon.
At this point, we're at 6, I think? Oh, no, 6. Wrong. This is 4. No, it's not 4. What am I talking about? Clearly
This, I
hallucinating.
believe, would have to be 6.
But you're right. Yes, 6 has this room. I was completely blanking about that. Yes, this is definitely level 6 then. My brain is not working tonight.
Well, you had a long
finds
day.
the other bomb upgrade, so he can come back there potentially if he needs to.
And knowing that it's 6 bombs, he might choose to do so if he wants to get up to 20 bombs.
Yeah, the 20 bomb thing can be a little, might be a little overkill. I mean, it will pretty much guarantee you're in safe shape in level 9, but at the same time, it's a lot of. I mean, again, so it's a big investment.
Indeed, it is, but we'll see if he chooses to do so later on.
Dungeon 6, Shiner now knows where Dungeon 7 is, but he already knew that, so it was one of those old news hints. And a lot of Dodongos into this seed, I feel like.
Maybe those 6 bombs are nice.
That's right, I forgot Jaylow explored here a lot earlier with his, It would be really nice if he had that red ring, but again, he doesn't know what's coming where yet, so he needs to... he's going to have to eventually head over to the coast to get that free item.
And we watch Shiner kills one room that could drop, and there is a compass. That's going to help him out. Dungeon 6 was one of those big dungeons where it's nice to know, and it's all the way on the top right.
Always useful to pick up the Triforce in, not Triforce, pick up the compass in 6. I'll still pick up the map if I find 6, just to make sure that I don't ever bomb walls unnecessarily. I always have a tough time as I'm walking up the left side, for example, knowing if I've hit the point where I can bomb a wall safely.
And I noticed that he's also using his Z Helper to help him out with the mapping of 6 too.
Yeah, it's a really nice feature that Quest Wizard added into Z Helper. Admittedly, I'm a person who literally plays on pen and paper, as opposed to Z Helper, not necessarily through any fault of that, aside just merely personal preference.
It's what you do.
Yeah.
You do what you're comfortable with.
Exactly. You gotta do what you're comfortable with. I tend to, again, I won't necessarily map out the other dungeons. I will map out level, because my general hope is it's a one and done at any given point. I will always map level 9. I do it on paper just because I keep track of walls and such through paper better than I do on Z Helper. Again, personal preference thing.
I used to not map out 9. Then I spent 40 minutes in 9. Then I spent 40 minutes in 9. I now map out 9.
Yes. Shiner discovering that room is one of the 3 rooms that does not have the double push block. There are 3 double push block rooms in level 6, 2 of which therefore are not stairs. He gets a single block, so he finds a staircase which will likely take him where he wants to go.
But now he finds he's got to find one of those double block rooms.
If he wants to even take the item. I might, at this point, again, he's got Recorder. It might be worth taking a play directly to the Silver Arrow.
Could this be the one?
Possible. This is it. Okay, so he proved me wrong.
And it's the raft.
Potentially useful. Have we found everything yet? I'm not sure if we're missing a dungeon at this point. Now, Jaylow has learned that the Recorder is in 8.
We have found everything, so the raft is not required for a dungeon.
It's for a dungeon. Maybe still be useful for magical sword or something else like that, but... Okay, so Jaylow has learned. 4 has the enemy weapon.
Magic boomerang, yep.
Which will be useful for him because, if you remember, the Triforce was early in 4, as we discovered with Shiner's play. And it'll mean that basically he can come in, find the 2, find the heart, find the Triforce, and get out of dodge.
And that's nice that Dungeon 6 and 8 are right next to each other.
Completely agreed, yep. And Jaylow can't yet get the magical sword. It's very useful to be there close to start, so you can just make a check. But, you can't get it at 9 hearts. The magical sword varies plus or minus 2 hearts, so it can be anywhere from 10 to 14 hearts. Jaylow killing a
power bracelet required if you want to get the magical sword this seed, which is interesting.
Again, the idea is that the wood and magical sword will both be technically available for you when you exit level 9, not necessarily when you are about to enter level 9. You're not guaranteed that you'll be able to necessarily pick it up based on the heart count that you've been getting, but at the very least you can explore every cave. Shiner's now doing the checkup near the coast here. Jaylow has made entry now into level 4, so once he realizes this is level 4, he can just go in and pick up the bomb. Just go and find the Triforce, which we again discovered was very early on here. So again, Jaylow's using the trick to unlock the doors. The direction that you enter the screen that the level is on, the game believes that that's the same direction that you entered the first room of the dungeon, and therefore will unlock a door appropriately.
And it's very good advice to do so, to save yourself a key, save yourself a bomb whenever you can do so.
It does potentially cost you a little bit of time, but that's really all that it costs you is 5 seconds entering, re-exiting a dungeon. So typically it's a highly recommended strategery thing to be able to do that. Jaylow is learning some old news for him. If he'd done things in the opposite order, that might have been a little bit more helpful for him. He should, if I remember, he's going to clear this room. Again, there are only 2 rooms in level 4 that actually require you to kill the enemies to get whatever happens to be the drop in that room, the empty room, and Gleok's natural room. Otherwise, the items are laid out on the floor. Otherwise, the items that you find will be laid out on the floor. So we'll see what Jaylow does here.
When it comes to hints for the dungeons, it's always for the next dungeon ahead in the numbers.
Correct. Any hint that you get will give you the next dungeon for that purpose. You might hints for the items potentially could be anywhere. But if you get a hint, Guria grumbles somewhere, or if you're in level 5, you can be guaranteed you'll get a hint for where level 6 is going to be. Key situation is going to be interesting here. We still haven't seen any sign of the magical key. And Jaylow is currently out of bombs, so his situation's lacking a little on that, just from the luck of not finding any bombs so far. Shiner's continuing his exploration now of, believe Oh, winter's coming, that's right, we are. He's actually taking both, so he has 20 bombs now. That is a lot of bombs.
And he wisely does it after he had spent that 1 bomb. So
yeah, agreed. That's always a good strategy. Jaylow's on level 2. Shiner is now continuing to do his exploration here, trying to find that nice Triforce that he needs. And there's the power bracelet that, again, is not necessary to complete the game strictly, but will potentially allow either of our competitors to get magical sword should they hit the correct number of hearts. Jaylow has a technical shot at the magical sword right now. He does have a 20% chance right now of being able to get the magical sword.
And you'd love to find the heart in this dungeon to make it a 40% chance.
Agreed. And Double A there does have a very good point in chat, the fact that that Shiner has used up almost all of his big secrets here, so he's not going to necessarily have a ton of funds to be able to. So that was interesting. Love
Look at all the bombs that Shiner got.
Yeah.
I guess when you have 20 bombs, you can get bombs on the floor like that. When you need 1 bomb, when you have 1 bomb, you ain't gonna get that luck.
Great. Do what Jaylow does here. Jaylow is going to try to continue to search the dangerous level 2 again. Shiner aborted on his search earlier. So we'll have to see what Jaylow's at 2 hearts and is on wood, the normal green ring, so he does have a risk of losing, dying on 1 shot to a Wizrobe. he is killing, or attempting to kill Gleok there again. That room, I believe, is a room that doesn't have a natural drop on it, so. And yes, we do not know the level 2 item right now. It could certainly be something like silver arrows for all we know. We'll have to see what happens when we get there.
And now we know that Jaylow has a 40% chance, but you got to also remember, even though he's got 11 hearts, his 11 hearts don't compare to Shiner's 10 hearts with the red ring.
That's true. Well, he's going to check the coast here soon. Has he found everything? He's found 1, 3, 9, 4, 5, 6. Because at some point here, the thing is, they still haven't found the silver arrow. So at some point here, Jaylow's going to make his play to the coast because he's going to gonna try to see if silver arrows are there. Very soon here, we're going to be seeing him make that play. And when he does, he will be pleasantly surprised to find what he finds there. And that'll help him out with, I think, the rest of his adventures. And Shiner does have fantastic play with the boomerang there, being able to group everything together and force bombs. He's never running short on bombs. It's actually funny that he did make the purchase to get both bomb upgrades because he's so good at, it feels like he has a lot more bombs than he really does. Jaylow has found yet another level.
Yep, he's going to go into 6.
He's in his 6. Which again, we discovered is a decently, it's not going to be, it's a bit of exploring he'll have to do. On the plus side, it's a Guerrilla set again, so it's not as hard of an exploration for us to do right now. Shiner, I think, is still looking around. He is short. He still doesn't have the white sword yet.
Yeah, and he needs the Triforces out of 1 and 3 so far.
Yeah, which is, again, won't be bad. We do know where they are. Again, those of us who are watching the game know that those are both hidden in the Dead Woods, which again happens to be the one area not named Death Mountain that he hasn't explored. So I'll be interested to see what he does here after he gets the white sword. If he goes back to Death Mountain or if he goes down to the forest. And that could actually end up being a decision that may actually decide the game.
And he might, if he ends up doing that, because 1, 3, and 9 are on that southwest.
Oh yeah,
quadrant.
they're all together. Exactly. See what he does.
So he makes the trek to Sesame Street, but does he take the right turn or left turn?
We're quartering somewhere here. Let's see where he goes. You think he's gonna try to go to 5 and then to kind of walk down and then bomb Death Mountain? That might buy our Jaylow here a little bit of time to be able to do things if that's what he's doing. That looks, in fact, like what he's trying to do here.
And don't forget, we do not know where that silver arrow is. It could be very well locked in 9.
Actually, at this point, though, we are pretty certain of the level 9 lock because we have level 2 is the only item that we, as viewers, don't know yet.
That would be tough if it turned out to be level 2 that had the silver arrow.
Oh, and Shiner's shield comes back to help him out there because he cuts through those levers like nothing. Cuts through them like Swiss cheese and sliced bread. Just letting their swords bounce off his off the wall there. So
it's one of the reasons why you buy that.
It's a useful item. It's one I tend not to use mainly because I have a problem. My standard way of fighting, doing screen scrolls happens to require visualizing the shield. And so when you buy the magical shield, then I'm usually all thrown off by that. But
yeah,
it is a very valuable.
Especially when you're doing the right to left.
Agreed. And Jaylow now, if he does go for the magical sword, he does have a 60% chance of being able to get it. We'll have to see what happens here, because remember, Shiner went to the left to find the magical staircase that ended up taking him near the other end of the dungeon. And it looks like Jaylow may be checking those 2 rooms just to see as well.
He finds in that case it's one of the blocks that does not push.
We'll see what he does here. He is checking that one gap, so he's actually taking almost the exact same path that Shiner ended up taking through, and this will give him what he needs to get through. It'll be interesting to see if he does explore for the 2-block room or not. He may actually be going just for Triforces. I'm not sure. Because again, he's left a large gap, essentially. Let's see what he does. Let's see. Currently skipping that direction. He is low on bombs, so he doesn't have the capability to do a ton of exploration here. Oh, okay, the bomb situation has partially fixed itself.
Thank you, Room Jump.
Shiner now heading through as well to the rest of the top of Death Mountain there. I don't think there's a lot left for him to necessarily pick up at this point. Maybe... I don't think I've seen anyone get the... Ouch! Gets a really nasty money-making game hit there. Jaylow is taking the Triforce and running. Oh, although he's can't bomb left because of the fact that that was the staircase room that we saw. Shiner has up aid back to start now, and now he's going to bomb the couple of areas right near start. He discovers where that blue ring was for sale.
Blue ring.
Which is a very good thing he did. Jaylow now discovering the location of level 8, I believe.
Yep, that would be 8 from our records earlier.
Right. And Shiner discovering the 4th of the any roads. I think he had discovered the previous 3. And he just hadn't finished the path. Yeah, they're expensive bombs, but the bomb upgrades from the old man at least are expensive. So we're generous in terms of the number of bombs that you get out of it. So that part works out pretty well. Actually, it looks like Shiner hadn't hit any of the any roads up to this point. I thought maybe I thought he had. So he's going to check out here. He's going to discover whether or not. Let's find out whether or not you can get away with 11 hearts.
Nope.
Magical sword, you cannot. So using fun Bayesian mathematics, Jaylow currently has a 1 in 3 chance of being able to get the magical sword now.
He might see it as a 50-50, but we all know right now it's 33. He skips the book. Sorry again, Lizzie.
Again, the fact that it generates that fire is an incredibly tough thing for any runner to actually try to use. That's where if Jaylow runs into the that wood arrow shop, he may want to consider that. Oh, and Jaylow has just discovered that he is in fact stair blocked in 8. The staircase is required.
Yeah, but he hasn't thought about bombing to the right just yet. He's going to check these rooms on the bottom row, though.
He knows that it has to be there, and now his odds have significantly improved for being able to pick up the magical sword. Of course, it'll still probably end up being a 14 sword seed.
And then you'll hear him cursing the name of Fred.
It's not a secret at this point. Friendly neighborhood Shiner is building up his rupee count again. Again, we know, those of us here, that the only area that I think Shiner himself also knows at this point, the only area that's left for him to really explore is down in the Lost Woods. So I think he is starting to head his way. He's going over here to purchase. Purchasing a key? He's going to purchase a key with his rupees. It's an interesting choice. It's not a bad one. I mean, he should be still gaining some keys in 1 and 3 when he goes in there, but he also doesn't know what he's going to be facing. So it's an interesting strategic point. I mean, there is the chance that he's going to be bow blocked or ladder blocked. Not ladder blocked, but bow blocked is a certain possibility.
It's an interesting decision, says the man who spent 20 minutes searching for a key last night.
It can be a good decision. I mean, that's why you have those key shops, right?
Absolutely.
If you need them, they're there. Jaylow is clearing out the bomb, the rooms to try to head towards the Triforce. He had found the book. He knows the recorder is actually the other item because he picked up the hint earlier. He paid for a hint that told him the Triforce was there. So I don't know if he's strongly searching for the key, for the recorder or not, or if he's just gonna get going at this point. I mean, he still has 5 and 7.
And he's already searched through 5 at this moment. He knows what's in 5. He grabbed what's in 5. He doesn't know what's in 7 at this moment.
Being forced to lose a bunch of keys, although he does gain the key back. Just checking the rest of the rooms now to see what he can do. He's got a good chance of a drop. And Shiner has, in fact, walked his way into 1, which means he will be getting the bow very shortly. Again, which at this point is going to leave our question for our team here. Does he go for, or do either of these guys go back into 2 to try to find silver arrows there, or do they make the play directly into 9?
It's a very good question, and Shiner's going to be his decision's even more difficult by the fact that 9 is where the general area where he's at right now.
So what are we missing at this point? That would be actually a really important question for the theory, because we would, silver arrows are missing at this point.
I haven't seen the red candle or the magical key either.
Okay, red candle, magical key, and those are the 3 items that are left. Okay, I was checking to confirm, because if it had been something like, if the raft had been missing, then you would know the raft is in 2 at this point, and silver arrows had to be in 9. But, it's tough, and it's tough because, again, it's a Wizrobe dungeon, level 2. It's typically an easier one to clear, but it's level 2 we're worrying about. Jaylow here has discovered the location of the recorder. He knows he can bomb into the Triforce room, and he now has the recorder.
This definitely helps for transportation purposes, especially since you got 1, 3, and 9 in the same quadrant.
Right, and so he can just get himself back there very quickly. It's certainly, as I said, certainly a very powerful tool to be able to do that. Shiner is taking the Triforce there. I don't think he explored that room to the right.
No, he did not. And he's going to go right back in.
He must figure again that he's got level 3 near there, so he can potentially find it that way, or be able to refill that way if he needs to.
Right now, as far as Triforces are concerned, Jaylow currently with 6, and Shiner with 7. However, neither of them know where that silver arrow is.
Yep, as Jacob was pointing out in chat there, Shiner probably would be considered in the lead at this point. Not just on the Triforce count, but on the fact that his Triforces have come out of hard dungeons.
And he's got 3 left. That's the only one he gets to go through.
Oh my gosh, it's a 14-part magical sword. So our competitors, there's a good chance they're all going to be requiring that they're going to be going into level 9 with white sword. Although Jaylow, to be fair, still has not found, I believe, 5 and 7 there. So,
well, he's found 5, and I believe he got the heart out of 5.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He got 5. He just wasn't able to finish 5. And 7, he never found. He didn't finish the northeast corner there. It ended up being at the northeast corner was where 7 was, and he didn't finish up there.
And Shiner just found the drop item, and because he already has scrap metal, he can't pick up Lord Banana.
Correct. Well, he could pick it up. It just wouldn't actually do anything.
He does find a heart container here, so if he gets the heart out of 3, he knows he'll have guaranteed magical sword, but whether he would take the trek over, because he doesn't know where it is, does he?
No, he found. Did he? No, he hasn't pushed the block. Yes, he did. His tracker has that. If I was him, then. If I find the heart, I'm doing that because we know it's 2 screens from start, and level 9 is located right near, near 1, so you can hit the.
And he's going to go for it right now. He's going for it right now.
Did he even get the Triforce out of 3 though?
No, he just upped an 8 once he grabbed the heart. He's going for that now,
Well,
going back to 3.
That's unique. I would have. I mean, I guess you can. It's certainly something you could do. I would have at least tried to finish 3 at that point. Get the. No, you had white sword in there, red ring. You could have survived that. That would have saved you the backtrack time, and then.
Well, to be fair, he can whistle over to 1 now.
Yeah,
Quickly go to 3. So I
that's
think
not
I
into the
understand
world.
his.
Yeah. Oh, he's
going back into 2.
Well, there you go. Well, he found the. No, he didn't even find the item in 3. So.
Yeah. So he's gonna go make sure that 2 isn't hiding what he wants to be hiding.
Well, I mean, either way, as we here know at home, he's got a 2/3 chance. Actually, he knows this as well. At this point, he views it as a 50-50 because he hasn't seen the item in level 3 yet. But he's got a 2/3 chance of having a really good item come out of this.
And Jaylow now finally picking up the red ring.
I mean, admittedly, he's got 9 bombs. Oh, we got our friendly
Ooh,
neighborhood.
Bait.
He won't be blocked, though. There's no walls in 2.
There's no way he can be blocked in 2. But now you know you don't need to get the bait because you won't be blocked in 9.
Right, which works out really well for him, so he could potentially afford a potion if he... But I don't know if he's actually gotten the... Yeah, I don't think he has the letter either. I don't think either one's found the letter, so the letter's probably on either a raft spot or under the lake. Jaylow is now exploring the northeast. He will very soon here discover level 7, and hopefully he'll hit the Triforce early. At this point, you have to wonder whether he's going to make a blitz and level, or let's see, what we got here. Whether he'll make a blitz into...
That's not the drop item. Taking care of some pancakes. May they be hiding the item he's looking for?
Certainly possible. It's an empty room, so... Empty rooms are always good for being able to do that. Let's see here. And it is... More bombs, so he's not quite there yet. A couple other rooms he hasn't checked, and maybe some rooms he may have walked through here. At the end.
Another blank room. 3 whiz robes. 3 hits. Red candle. Silver arrows and 9.
We know that at this point. Let's just say, I was wondering what Shiner was about to do there, just because he then up-A'd, but he had walked around a little bit there. I was a little bit worried at first he was going to spend more time exploring. If I remember correctly, the Triforce ended up being pretty quick here in 7. Again, Shiner explored and found the heart container, but we have significant potential of time.
But that depends. Yeah, that depends if you take that wrong turn in 7.
I mean, honestly, I'm playing gamble at this point, especially at Jaylow. You're over an hour now in the race. You don't know what your opponent's doing, but you've got to assume your opponent's close to 9, if not in 9 at this point. You've got to assume. I mean, assuming's bad, but we know what happens if you assume.
And don't forget, he's still got to go back to 5 and get that Triforce.
Yeah, it's not really good, especially for Jaylow. Again, Jaylow doesn't without. I guess he can take an any road over. But I was gonna say Jaylow does not do the screen scroll, so it's gonna take a little bit of a walk for him to get there, and there's not really a good dungeon close by. Shiner now has confirmed that he needs silver arrows and magic gear in 9 because he's collected every other item.
And don't forget, as we all know, 9 can be the general equalizer, especially now. And let's go ahead and talk about this as we get ready to see Shiner head towards the final Triforce piece. What is your strategy for 9, knowing you're going to have to search for the silver arrow?
Typically, for me at least, if I have 2 different mindsets, and it depends on whether or not silver arrows in 9. In this specific case, if he does not have the Triforce, my immediate reaction, or not the Triforce, the silver arrow, is going to be you're going to take every stairway. You got to check every single stairway that you run into, and when you do find a staircase, you take it to the other end. That removes 2 stairs at once from the equation, and helps you hopefully identify the room that you need a lot quicker. Can't guarantee it'll always work. Very easily have that, check all, there's 14 staircase rooms in 9 total. So there's a lot of potential things to cover. That's why, again, if you find a staircase, it's worth cutting through. Yep.
I'm just going to interrupt you to say Shiner was in the Triforce room. We know it's a Triforce room. He doesn't, and he just updated.
Oh, yep. Well, he just did pick up the wand. He actually did grab the wand, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did grab the wand, but without knowing that the Triforce was in that shoot room. Yeah. This is now just an unnecessary exploration for him.
That's true, but again, he didn't know that. I mean, you have potential things where you potentially run through things without knowing about them early on, so it would have definitely benefited him to clear that room out, but he also may have figured that taking the time to kill a bunch of Gibdos from a long distance may hurt him. Again, it's a small dungeon, so it's not end of the world. It is just definitely
it's more painful. Extra time at this point.
Agreed. Jaylow is still trying to hunt for that. I believe he got the heart container already. He did already get the heart container for 2, so he is really hunting for.
Yeah, trying to really, he's gonna find out real
gotten
soon.
His disappointment. Yep, there it is, right there. He's gonna up A out now, saving so that way he can go back to quicker to where he needs to go now.
Did he get the item out of 7 though?
He did not get the item out of 7. He took the Triforce and ran.
But however, a lot of people's strategy when it comes to that is don't go through 7 chasing after something that's 33 rooms deep.
Yeah, no, it's agreed. Although Jaylow has a different calculation, he's got to go through in his head. I mean, he's still going back to 5 to get the Triforce. He's already gotten the item out of there, so that's not factoring into his decision here. But he doesn't know the item in 6 or 7. So it's a little bit different for him. For him, it's actually a 50-50 in his mind because he doesn't know where where actually he still has thinks he's got a 2/3 chance again because the recorder's not at 9. So Jaylow should know at this point that he's got a 2/3 chance that the recorder or that the silver arrows are at 9. But
he saw the recorder in 8, didn't he?
He got the hint the recorder's an 8. Yeah, it's true. So yeah, at this point you're right, because 6 and 7. 6 was Raph though. I think, if I'm remembering my thing. So it's still at that point, my logic's right. I think I just said the wrong word. He did see that he doesn't have the raft yet. Since he doesn't have raft, it's a 50-50 as to whether he can rule out that the raft's not in 9.
And Shiner making it back into that shoot room. And he'll be taking care of some Gibdos.
Having the wand and he doesn't actually have wooden arrows, but the fact he's got the wand really is just going to help him quickly clear that room out. And now he can head towards level 9. He's got a significant advantage here. Although again, we have to see how Jaylow. If Jaylow comes out of this level 6 here, what will he do in terms of moving on to level? Will he move to level 9 or will he backtrack? It's going to be an interesting decision he's going to have to make here.
This could still turn out to be a very close race.
Yeah, if he takes the coin flip and goes for 9, they'll be almost on the same foot. Aside from the magical sword, the only difference right now will be the fact that Jaylow cannot get magical sword right now.
I really like Shiner's counts right now. 11 keys, 20 bombs heading into 9.
And tons of rupees for when he does finally get the silver arrows. So he's in really good shape. I mean, he doesn't even have to worry about the any key most likelihood. I believe there's only 15 key doors in 9, and there's a couple of keys laying on the ground. So
here we go.
Okay, now what he's going to be doing again, and this is a perfect place for it, is just immediately trying to go. He should be immediately checking every staircase because he's going to need that. And clearing this room with a bubble in it is a really good decision because that way the room will never respawn if it turns out he needs to go through it.
Now the unfortunate thing for Shiner is that he's got music playing but no game audio, so we cannot hear if he's near Ganon at all.
Which is incredible. Again, that's a really big point too. Again, for those of you who haven't ever seen it, the basic sign that you are close to Ganon is that you will hear Ganon's roar in adjacent rooms. So you can use that to try to find where Ganon is as part of your hunt to, save the princess, or in this case, actually to find Zelda and kill Zelda and save Ganon.
And in his case, finding Ganon, what is the sign you're looking for?
Finding sign I'm looking for finding Ganon or Zelda if you're playing it with a normal human. And Jaylow's making the play to 9. This is going to be a really close race. Would be that finding a door that does not unlock when you kill all the enemies. That will be a sign that door's locked. That door will be unlocked if you collect the Triforce of Power. So you will be able to grab that, basically grab the Triforce of Power and go. Then that door will open even if there are enemies in the room.
So right now, Shiner on the top of the map after taking 2 staircases. That was an unfortunate first staircase. It only took you 1 room to the right.
Yeah, it was definitely a painful staircase to take, but the plus side, again, the key here isn't necessarily to... Shiner's got it. Shiner has the silver
arrows.
Wow. So now at this point...
He's going to want to kill those likes to see what happened to that locked door on the left, see if that's the room that we're talking about.
Right. That would be a really useful thing for him. If that turns out to be where Zelda is, then he just has to find Ganon and it's over. But alas, that's not the case in this one case.
Unfortunately, but he'll keep on pushing.
But on the plus side here, the paths of the Silver Arrows are actually pretty straightforward. So if Jaylow ends up following a similar walking path here, he will also find the Silver Arrows because, again, he's probably going to kill all the... He will probably kill all of the...
now...
Oh, he's low on bombs, though, so he has to be really careful.
He's got to be careful on bombs. One other thing I got to note about Jaylow, he's still got the white sword.
That's true, too. It'll take him a little bit longer to kill Ganon. I don't believe he has neither one has a potion. Jaylow's now killing the like just to make sure whether or not he's found Zelda early. He has confirmed now that is not Zelda's room north of him. Again, if Shiner's not listening to the game audio, then that will be a distinct disadvantage to him.
Oh, he just found the compass.
Oh, compass is incredibly useful.
Now all he really needs to do is just listen out for the roar of Ganon. If he can hear it on his end.
Yeah, he might still be able to hear that, even though we can't. Even though he may not be playing the game audio sound.
Yeah, he may be able to hear it on his end.
Jaylow took the wrong turn to get to the item staircase, at least right now. We'll be interested to see what he... Will he leave the room? Oh, he's cutting through. He's cutting through. That's gonna... Yeah, it's not something you can control, but it's definitely something that could potentially cost him. He's trying to decide if he wants to use that last bomb. He does use the last bomb, and it blocks the door for him. Which still might be okay. Especially if there's a couple of dead ends here, he might be able to still end up back towards the Triforce pretty soon. He's trying to kill Patra so that way he can listen if he needs to for Ganon's roar. Again, Patra happens to generally mask Ganon's roar, although some people have said that they still hear a difference between the roars when Ganon's in the room and Ganon's not in the room. But this will at least give him a chance to be able to... Jaylow killing the... Jaylow doesn't have any bombs, so he is forced to backtrack at this point.
Oh, Shiner has found Ganon. I was just hinted by Panzer that he does now have his game audio on, so here we go.
So that works out. And that's a very fast kill, an amazingly fast kill of Zelda there. So now it's just a matter of him walking up towards and hoping that there's a direct path and no magical staircase. Which can always happen in 9 even. There's definitely the possibility that there will be a no path to walk to Zelda. So far, so good for him for his movement. We'll see what happens as he continues here. Again, remember Jaylow does not clip through stairs, so he's going to check the staircase now. He will find the silver arrows.
One room away. Will the door be there? Yes, it is. And Shiner will move on to face Jay Coper in the next round.
That was a fantastic race there. There we go. There we got the official successful completion there. Shiner finishing the race at a time of 1:12.57 on the SRL side. So a fantastic race by him, especially with a silver arrow in 9 seed. Any of those seeds tend to automatically significantly increase the amount of time you're going to be spending in that dungeon anyway. So that was a fantastic play by him to be able to get through in time.
Very solid time, 1:12:51 on his timer.
Jaylow is continuing to wander his way down south, not to migrate for the winter, but trying to find where Ganon's going to be hiding. And he's a little low. I mean, he's definitely lower on bombs. He's also kind of low on, starting to get a little low on keys. It's not end of the world yet, but he's going to keep an eye out because he doesn't want to run out of keys completely. It may turn out that the key is in one of these rooms, so he'll get the magical key, and then that'll be a completely irrelevant point.
And hopefully we'll have Shiner come on board with us in a little bit to do a post-race interview.
Jaylow's dropped now right dead smack in the middle of the map, so he's getting actually pretty close to where Ganon is. He should hear him now in this next room. Now he's just got to decide what he wants to do to try to find Ganon. He's going to clear the room out, so that way if he has to come back into this room, he can... Hopefully, he won't have to re-clear the room, hopefully. Taking those hearts and rupees for fun. And now he's just got to decide which of the 3 rooms he's in. Ganon's not in the south, so now he's got a 50-50 shot as to which room Ganon is actually in. He's out of bombs, so he can't bomb out of... Cannot bomb out of that one room, so he's going to have to now try to come through a different path and hope that he can find Ganon from there.
Another key issue here with Jaylow is he didn't find the compass, so he doesn't know where Zelda is.
That's true.
He's upping and A-ing. I think he's going to go out and try to... Oh, where is he whistling up to?
I don't know if he knows where the bomb shop is. If he was going for the bomb shop, he'd actually up A back to start, but...
Oh, he's going for the upgrade.
There you go. If you know exactly... Remember, he only picked up one of the 2 bomb upgrades, and he has enough rupees. That's a fantastic play. You just gotta remember the path to get there. He may have to go through that blue wizard room again. It's the only downside to that, but... When in doubt, take the use the rupees, get the take the bombs. It's definitely a really good idea.
It's an interesting decision, especially well, he does definitely benefits from knowing where they are.
Yeah. Again, in this case he's already completed he's already seen presumably that Shiner has won the race. So at this point, he's just trying to mitigate the damage as best as he can. This is a quick way to get himself an extra 20 bombs. And it doesn't hurt him so much too, because if he up A's back to level 9, or he goes back to level 9, he's still got the recorder lake there that he can just go through.
In the meantime, Shiner's come by to join us. Congratulations on your win. And we'll hear from him in just a moment.
Thank you. I will withhold further comments until Jaylow is done racing, and I will just be chomping onto my not very garlicky garlic bread.
Oh, garlic bread, that is awesome. I want some of that. Can you come over here, please? So Jaylow heading back now. He's back to level 3. I expect
Hopefully he visits the fairy fountain.
I expect he will, assuming these Lionels aren't too mean to him.
Well, this is interesting. Get some money here. Maybe he was... Oh, no, he found all 4 four overworld hearts, rather.
Well, I mean, he was already there. I'm not sure if there was I'm trying to think if there was a specific thing that would really, benefit him at that point, but... And he already knows where magical is. He knows where white sword is. Maybe he was hoping for a shop, maybe a bomb shop. Oh no, he already has bombs. Never mind. Ignore me. Or maybe a potion shop. Oh, a letter. Actually, I'll bet you that's what he was looking for. We haven't found letter.
Ah.
That's what he was looking for. He's probably hoping, since he's walking by there anyway, if he can get a letter, because again, he knows where Ganon is approximately, but he has not actually seen. But he hasn't actually, you know, get there. He may not have confidence to be able to kill.
It's definitely an interesting strategy, as he now has to work his way back towards Ganon.
Again, he knows approximately where it is. Again, he's got the silver arrows. He's got. At least he knows he can just walk through that. He doesn't have to take the stairs for this one. He knows his path. He knows where he needs to go. It's just a matter of actually, you know, getting there with enough health. Again, he'll eventually have to find Zelda too, but one thing for those rooms, for those of you who are playing the game casually, if you are in a randomizer, and you're in, especially in any Wizrobe dungeon, if you exit a staircase, the immediate thing you want to do is you want to hold up.
Yeah, you want to get out of their beams, because, as I know far too well, they're going to fire right at you the second you come out.
Yeah, if they're on the same tile, full tile as you, they're going to guarantee to shoot you. And so if you sit on a half tile, you're in better shape, or you know, anywhere near them. But if you hold up, you get around them, and then you don't have to worry as much.
And Wizrobes hurt, especially when you don't have blue or red ring.
Yes.
And wondering what Jaylow's doing.
I think
right
he's
now.
attempting to draw the map out. He's trying, again, one of the key things with level 9 is going to be, he knows where Ganon is-ish. He's trying to rule out where Zelda could be, I believe.
I see what he did.
He was taking really careful notes there.
He's using Z-Help, and I think he mismarked his map. That the room that he's currently in was not a staircase room. Now he's finally corrected that mistake.
Yes, that makes sense. It's really tough. Level 9, you have to be a really good cartographer here if you want to be able to properly navigate from place to place here.
It's why you use the tools that you have, whether it be you drawing a map yourself, or using something like Z-Helper, or whatever method you like to do. Some people use Excel spreadsheets.
People have done, again, on one of those old-fashioned, give me a pen and paper. Now Jill's now going to determine exactly what room Ganon's in.
Or rather, and again, in this case, Zelda.
Yes. Now again, we know what path he has to take. This is not the best room to fight Zelda in, but it's not so bad. There are far worse rooms to fight him or it in.
And those of us who participated in a particular SRL race a few weeks back when it was in the Chevy room know exactly what that pain is.
That was actually a pretty nice stun lock there that Jaylow had. He was able to get 6 of the hits onto Zelda from, you know, on the one cycle there. So he was able to really quickly dispatch of Ganon, Zelda, whatever you want to call it. And so now he just needs to go look for a door that will open as soon as he walks into the room, even with their enemies there. So presumably, especially with his key situation, is actually this should probably really help him.
To one
or not.
Key. He just used 2 of those keys.
Well, again, that's okay. That's not end of the world, because in this case it happens to work out. That's where he's going to need to be going. Unless
he takes the wrong turn in one of these rooms.
Possible, but I don't think he actually needed keys. So eventually, taking that wrong turn will likely, in this case, lead back to the correct path.
And there he goes. He now has confirmation where he needs to go. So Jaylow's going to finish up this race. So how about a hand for both of our competitors, please?
Absolutely.
Well done, both of them.
Fantastic races.
So Shiner will now move on. He will face off against the tournament number 5 seed, Jay Coper, in the next round. While Jaylow will move on to the bonus bracket. He will have a bye because Jay Coper didn't have an opponent in the first round. So he'll have a bye into the next round of the bottom bracket. So he'll have to wait to see who his opponent's going to be in a little while. So welcome aboard, Shiner. Congratulations on your win.
Oh, Lord Shiner? No one's called me that in forever.
Congratulations, sir. I have to say, it was really fun getting to watch you. You were pulling off some really good stuff. I mean, your skill in terms of bomb drop manipulation seems to be amazing there. We were watching a bunch of rooms there where you were getting 2-3 bomb drops just completely out of the blue there.
Most of those were luck. I did get the one from Gleok. I've never done that before, and I thought, oh, I guess I wasted my time in this room.
Yeah.
Luckily, that worked out.
You amazed a few of our speedrunners with that little 10 bomb trick there with the Gleok. Another thing we noticed that you did very well is using scrap metal to help stun lock the enemies to take them down real easily.
Using scrap metal? You mean like
the magical boomerang?
Croissant?
Yeah. Yes, the magical croissant, as you refer to it, exactly. That's one of the nicknames that seems to migrate its way around. But yeah, the fact that you are able to, you were stunning the enemies, getting them together, and dropping the bombs there was actually a really effective technique. It was really useful, I think, for anyone watching to pick that up potentially for the future.
Well, at that point, I was fairly overgeared at that point. I gotta say, if I lost this, I would have been a little worried going into the rest of the tournament because I think this is one of the most merciful seeds I played in a long time. I don't know how Jaylow started out, but I got the sword right away and then found an open heart cave, so I took a candle, and then I found all 3 big monies, and that was like just the most ridiculous start I have ever seen a seed. So, and then getting the early red ring as well. Yeah, I bumped into the ladder right away at 8, and then I went, oh, I guess I should go check the C item, because I've noticed I did like a few practice seeds quickly tonight, and I learned that, okay, my biggest bad habit in randomizers is I don't check the driftwood item on the east side of the map ever. I'll be plundering dungeons aimlessly, hoping to find Silver Arrow or the bow, and maybe it was on the outside overworld map the whole time. Maybe it was out there in the driftwood, so I need to get in the habit of at least examining what it is.
Yeah, that turns into one of the questions I have is your later strategy. Now, you're running out of items that it could possibly be. What was your strategy knowing that the silver arrows were still out there?
It's the other way around, really. I mean, I just check every dungeon item until I find silver arrows. So that's why I went back to 2 at the end of the race. Another thing is that I admit that my skills at Zelda are pretty limited. It's something that holds me back in Randomizer. I saw that 2 was infested with Rizrobes, and I decided, okay, I'm not going to be stubborn. I'm not going to waste time trying to clean this place out. I'll just come back later. And luckily, especially when I found the Triforce in it, I was like, okay, I will definitely come back later. Because eventually, with my algorithm to search all the dungeon items, I'll find the recorder and then just be able to go back and finish. And that's what I did when I was just overgeared out of my mind at the end.
Oh yeah, no, it was a really solid strategy. I mean, I don't think that's a limitation. I think even the most wisest of runners recognizes when they need the extra firepower to potentially come back. And as you said, especially once you found the Triforce, that was a great one to save till later. I was interested, though, a little bit about the fact that, level 7, you did the deep digging early on for that one. I mean, it turned out just giving you a heart container out of it in the end. Was that just the same logic? You just wanted to find everything out of there and not risk any gambling, or what were your thoughts on that one?
Exactly. I just wanted to completely clear it out while I was there, especially with it being in such a remote location, the very top right of the map. I mean, the enemies were easy enough. They were quite manageable once I had that magical boomerang, especially. Oh yeah, that was it. It was like the heart container item at the end.
Right.
Exactly. I just want to make absolutely certain. I don't want to have to come back later if it turns out the silver arrows are in there. And I mean, finding the silver arrows early is actually a pretty good weapon system early on because it does as much damage as the sword.
One of the things that was interesting to both of us was your strategy in level 3. You got that heart container early, then you just left and went right back to start to get that magical sword.
Yeah. I don't know why. I think right. My logic was, I should go back and clear out 2. Easier way to do that would be to get the magical sword. And so when I finish 2 and come all the way back to 3, I'll have magic sword for it. So that in turn was also sped up. It was kind of funny that I was in the room the Triforce was in, and ended up going back to it later though once I found the compass. I thought it was extra funny how the wand in 3 was like the required item to get the Triforce. It was like necessary to solve a puzzle of shooting these Gibdos in the horizontal shoot room. So
exactly.
evidence that randomizers become sentient, I guess.
Oh,
Admit it,
don't say that.
you programmed it that way, Fred.
You're not supposed to know about this.
Don't give Fred ideas.
I know. All right, we do got to wrap it up because there's 11:30 race coming up. We also have Jaylow here. Good job with your race as well.
Thank you.
So all things considered, as I say, you played that race really solidly. What were your thoughts in general about how you felt that you played?
One early mistake I made is I deviated from my normal route when I found the any roads, and
Yes.
thus found the ladder a lot later than I should have.
Yeah, we noticed that, although, I mean, to be fair, those any roads were spread decently around the map. They put you, in position to check the Armos up near the normal power bracelet early, and they put you a lot closer to the northeast. So, doing that certainly was understandable. In this case, the luck was on the side of checking your start first, but, again, it could have very easily been the other way there.
Very true.
And I asked Shiner the same question I'm going to ask you. What was your strategy in the later dungeons, knowing that the Silver Arrow was still out there?
Well, as you saw, most of them I went ahead and found the items. Like when I went into 8, I knew by hint that Recorder was in there and made sure to grab it. Turned out to be like the last room I checked.
But as I say, Recorder's always a very valuable one. What about your decision there after you found the Triforce, finally found the Triforce in 5? You had 6 and 7, I believe. You hadn't found the items in yet, and you made the charge towards 9. What was your thoughts there?
At that point, I was basically playing the percentages successfully, as it turned out, because the arrows were in 9.
Yeah, you end up making good choices there because you skipped the heart container and the raft were the two that were outside the dungeon. So it ended up working out very nicely for you that happened. But as I was, we were interested to see how that was going to work out because you entered 9 within, I'd say, a minute of when Shiner entered, and the only major difference at that point, it seemed to be a gamble for you just because of 6 and 7 items still sitting out there, and really the only major difference at that point was the fact that you were on White Sword, whereas Shiner was on Magical, and I think maybe your bomb count may have been a little lower entering 9, but it ended up making a very close race where you were, for at least most of 9 there, you were only a couple of rooms behind him.
Yeah, very interesting how that turned out.
I must say, I really liked your idea when you ran out of bombs in 9 to go back to 5 to get that bomb upgrade to get you up to 20.
Yeah, I knew it was there, and knowing that the bomb upgrades were +6, having 20 bombs going back in, I knew was going to be enough. Because at that point, I pretty much knew all I needed was to bomb that one door to find Ganon.
Yeah, no, that was, as I said, it was a great thing. We were trying to figure out where you were whistling to. I was expecting you just up A and go back to the caves near start, although actually in retrospect you didn't check the cave north of start, which was where the bomb, or maybe you did, but that was where the bomb shop was in the first place, I think. I know there were bombs in blue rings, so...
I knew about that because that's also where the room was.
Oh,
I
yeah,
never
that's
had
right.
enough money for it, but I wanted to finding red, so...
It worked out well. As I said, you ended up playing a really solid race there. Congratulations.
I did. Thank you.
That was your money situation, Jaylow. Mine was really funny because I spent most of it at max money. I ended up buying a shield. I know at one point I bought a key. I ran into 5 and had enough money to just get both bomb upgrades. I found the information sellers way too late. So how did you end up spending your money?
I wound up buying one of the information guys, which is how I found out where the recorder was. Other than that, I bought both bomb upgrades.
Yeah, that was another habit I used to have in Randomizer, is I would be too stingy with money because I would always want the bomb upgrades more than anything. But I've realized when it comes to saving time, I think the information is actually the best thing to buy.
As long as the information sellers happen to actually give you good information and not just random troll hints.
Well, if they
Yes,
tell you
indeed.
Power Bracelet is required for an item in this tournament seed category, it means you're going to need Power Bracelet to visit the dungeon. So it just means
That's
Power
true.
Bracelet required.
All right.
They become more helpful in this format, I think.
Congratulations once again, Shiner. As you get ready for Jay Coper, what kind of things do you look forward to in your next match?
Losing. Other
You
than
never
that,
know what's gonna happen, though, buddy.
that's true. I look forward to clearing out every dungeon with a wooden sword and buying bombs and a blue candle and just like every Pyrrhic unscrupulous method that I can possibly take to save time. Every reckless thing I can do to possibly save time. It's gonna take all that. It's gonna take everything I have to get the win, I think. I wasn't around for the reveal show, but if I was, I would have said, like, I should point out, I don't think I've ever taken first place in a randomizer seed. I think part of that is because I usually play in races with Jake. I really look up to him, so if I manage to beat him, I will be extremely surprised. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna roll over and just give him the win.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. You both will get your matches scheduled soon. Jaylow, you're going to have about a week's break while a bunch of matches that you have to be focused on get played out. Wish you both the best of luck as you guys move on in this tournament.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And everyone stay tuned here on